colloidal does in 30 days. And I've been part of a research project where we took 67 samplings of silver that you usually think of the kind you make. And I can tell you that after 30 days, it is extremely weak. Ionic silver helped somewhat, but now this new patent in such a advanced protocol has now allowed that solution to not come out. It won't drop. It won't come out of solution. And so what I'm getting at is that there are so many advanced protocols and therapies out there. We all need to learn how to make these remedies much better than we have been, and there is ways to do that. So look soon for me to be talking a lot more about that. There are some very, very interesting ways to make some of these remedies. In fact, as you already know, after I had my doctorate, I went and spent 2 more years getting European biological medicine training. And the Germans, for example, have a remedy line that is so potent because of the way it's processed that, for example, if you were to take the herbs and use echinacea from them, you only need 5 drops. Well, that's a long ways from the 2 or 3 400 milligram capsules or the 30 to 60 drops 3 times a day that you get from regular standardized. Even standardized, by the way, is more potent than just regular herbal. Standardized herbs are an herb that has been processed so that the active ingredient is the same each time that you get it. If, for example, you get standardized garlic, you're going to have the same active ingredient called there's an active ingredient in a garlic that is the reason why you use garlic. But if you harvest garlic in different times and it comes from different soils and it's processed different ways, that active ingredient can vary. And you want 5,000 units of that active ingredient to be a really good product. And so there are ways to do that. I'm going to be encouraging that communities begin to, find the folks that are interested. And it's very interesting that, for example, the one company I was talking about from Germany had a process where they gently cut their plants by hand, and they don't mechanized machine smash them up. One of the philosophies that they have is that the machines that mutilate the plants to make these herbs into powder and put them into capsules take the vital force out of the plant. And it's interesting how much different the process that this company used, where they do not use a mutilating machine. They hand chop them, and then they put them into a type of device that puts water through it. It saturates the plant. They extract active ingredient, and they do, however, have a process that isn't a grinding process. It's a rhythmic process. It's a very small machine. I'd say 3 foot across, maybe, and it does this grinding in a figure 8 with a special frequency and rhythm with it. And it doesn't take the vital life out of these plants, making these remedies extremely potent. So I think that's going to be some of the things that we here need to be implementing, and some of the processes that are involved in that. But one of my, of course, being a naturopath, one of the most important things I'd like to talk about in this part of the health section today and that's why I'm saying we might not have enough time for everything, but I will get to every topic. I just may not get as deep, is the fact that a naturopathic doctor is a common law occupation. Now, what does that mean to, you know what common law means probably, but what does that mean? What that means is that naturopaths are not using remedies and therapies that require a license to get purchased. In other words, they don't use drugs, and they do not do invasive therapies like taking a scalpel and cut and do surgery. That's what's required to be licensed. In the United States, to be licensed as a physician, it was to protect the public. Well, what were they protecting the public from? Well, there must have been something that doctors were doing that is basically illegal to do that they needed at the common level. So they needed, at the common law level, so they needed to have permission to do what they were going to do because it would have been breaking common law. Well, what is that? Well, it happened to be, for example, surgery. Now, in my opinion, however, if a person voluntarily agrees to be cut by another person hoping to, get help, then I still think that's not even requiring a license because we each have a common law right to contract. In other words, what if you get a splinter and you get it in your backside and you can't see it, but somebody might need to pull it out? It's going to hurt. It might be a little invasive, and sometimes splinters can be. So you get tweezers and you might have to jerk a little, hangnail off or something, and that is still considered to be against the law if it's not given permission. But we do it, don't we? We help our family member and our kids that get splinters, and we pull those splinters out. So in a technical sense, those family members that do that have been breaking the law. So why hasn't it been that they've been turned in as practicing medicine without a license? Because it hasn't a thing to do with the pharmaceutical industry making gobs of money. That's why. So in the meantime, what is naturopathy? Naturopathy, again, is something that doesn't require that scalpel. If you need to have an emergency surgery, you go to a surgeon. And yes, I can understand why they might want to license them, but I'm not sure I even agree with that, since we have a right to private contract. There are also, and that is like saying to the people in the industry or in the state or in the community you're in that you're too stupid to know how to take care of yourself and choose a doctor. That the state knows better and the government knows better how to choose and license people. And folks, we're now chasing a rabbit because basically the licensure is a way to control how many people get involved in it so that they can create a demand that causes the price to be extremely high because they can charge what they want. Now, I'm all for free enterprise, or not capitalism, but free market. But when you control how many can get into that market, that's no longer free, is it? Okay, let's get back to the topic. There are a lot of states in the United States, and there may be even some other countries that have and make a law that license naturopaths. Licensing of a naturopath required that they be going to a particular school. Now, isn't that interesting? Well, I disagree. I don't think naturopaths should be licensed, and here's why. Naturopaths that they happen to allow to be licensed don't just do naturopathy. They're also licensed to do surgery and to give out drugs. Folks, that's not a naturopath. If this doctor wants to become a person that helps with alternative therapies using herbs, using